With just 3 days of testing, I thought there might be a separation between the wheat and the chaff. Turns out there's an awful lot of wheat and not much chaff from that one. Really close field, but maybe, just maybe, a different title favourite heading into the year. I have to say, it's extremely difficult to try and put a running order from these 3 days. The teams look like they've converged a lot from top to bottom. But I think probably Haas are the team that might struggle the most heading to round one. Fairly underdeveloped car. Günther Steiner, team boss, has said they're not planning on giving it a lot of development either. And they got 2 rookies at the wheel, which is going to make things tough as well. 2 rookies have coped quite nicely. No big errors from them. They've got down to an okay pace, ran through some soft tyre programs. But I just get the feeling that it might be a tough year for the 2 of them. So ahead of Haas, I think it's going to be Williams. One day went to Roy Nissany the first day. That's not ideal when you've only got 3 days of testing to put your reserve driver in who may never drive the car again. And it takes away a precious half a day from the race drivers, and they're not that experienced either. It was the worst day in terms of track conditions, but still not ideal preparations. The car went nicely with both race drivers at the wheel, but I don't think they've done enough to leap forward from where they were to join that midfield battle. I think they might be ahead of Haas's rookies, but I don't think they're going to be able to join the midfield. Similarly, I think Alfa Romeo, they can be very pleased with their test, but again, I think the midfield pack is so tight, even tighter than usual. Whilst Alfa Romeo can be very pleased, both Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi looking good, making pretty much no mistakes the whole time, I still think they're maybe going to be just off the back. So we're going to end up with the back 3 teams being similar. I think Haas and Williams are going to be probably similar to last year. I think Alfa Romeo can definitely close the gap and maybe get closer to the midfield and fighting for some more points. So that's the back 3 teams, similar to last year. The midfield pack, similar to last year. Impossible to choose between these teams. They've all had positive moments, and actually not many of them have had bad days. Probably Aston Martin are the team that have had the most disappointing test. It doesn't mean they're going to be the most disappointing by round one, but Sebastian Vettel particularly really struggled for some mileage. He had a gearbox issue on day 2, another issue that curtailed his running in the end in day 3, which meant he never got a chance to try soft tyres on the Aston Martin. Now, if you're Sebastian Vettel moving to a new team after what was a pretty torrid year at Ferrari, you want to build the confidence, you want to have some soft tyre running, get used to that car straight away and kick off the season well. It's not the ideal way for him to prepare at all. Maybe he's on the back foot, at least he's got a load of experience. And the positive is for them, Lance Stroll showed a bit of pace the day before. AlphaTauri, they look like they've come on really nicely. Yuki Tsunoda, the rookie, looks like he's found his feet very well, looking very quick at the end on day 3. Yeah, he had the softest tyres on the car. I'm sure he had very low fuel on what was pretty much a bit of a glory run quali simulation for the rookie. But looked very good on the whole. Just one half spin, very accomplished so far. He's got to get up to speed with the procedures, the starts and everything else. But so far so good for him. And Gasly continuing on where he left off. I think the AlphaTauri looks like a strong car this year. Definitely a step forward, I'd say. Renault have switched to Alpine, and they've got Fernando Alonso at the wheel. And I have to say, it looks like he never left. He was straight on it in day 2, not making any mistakes the whole time, as you'd expect from the 2-time champ. Alpine, they've come with a slightly strange concept with their design, a very high upper engine cover, and trying to thin it out lower down, which is a fairly unique and innovative design. Whether or not it's quick, we don't really know yet. Testing times are always very difficult to predict, particularly in that midfield. But it looked okay, certainly. Alonso, impressive. Esteban Ocon in the other car is going to have his work cut out, I think, this year. But if he can match Alonso, maybe beat him, it's going to be brilliant news for the team. A big winter for Ferrari after their very disappointing time this time last year in Barcelona. And it's really difficult to try and predict what's happened there. They had moments where I thought they were struggling a bit, then occasionally a little glimmer of some good pace with both Charles Leclerc on day 3 morning and then Carlos Sainz in the end on some soft tyres. So very difficult to know. They've got a little innovation with a fin on the edge of the diffuser which might help them out. And they are pretty confident they found a bit of power which they needed to after that clarification to the engine rules last year. So it'll be interesting to see how they do, but I think they're still going to be in that midfield fight. Finally, McLaren of the midfield bunch. really good test for them, I think. They were very happy with it, which is an encouraging sign. Daniel Ricciardo, their new signing, was very happy with it, and again looked comfortable from the off. Very few mistakes, running through their test program nicely, integrating both a new driver and a new engine to the team pretty much seamlessly. I think a very good test for them. Obviously the Mercedes engine is a big step, but they've got down with it straight away. I think if I was going to stick my neck on the line here, I think I'd say McLaren are going to edge that midfield battle this year. And I think with Ricciardo and Norris working together, I think they can have a really, really good impact on that team. The big two, Red Bull and Mercedes, the same two as last year. I think they're going to be at the front again. However, what I will say, I think the whole pack has closed up immensely. Even the Red Bull and Mercedes dominance that they had from last year might be really shrunk down, and midfielders on a good day can get right in amongst them if they're on not such a good day. Mercedes have had a tough test. They started poorly with Valtteri Bottas having a gearbox issue and losing a lot of time on day one morning. Lewis Hamilton never really looked comfortable in the car, oversteering like crazy the whole way through his run in the sandstorm on day one, having a spin on day two at turn 13 and another spin just trying to get a C5 softest tyre lap in at the end of day on day three. Whilst at the same time I think Red Bull have done a great job. I think they look like they've got a car that's much more stable compared to this time last year, certainly. The car looks like it's got a lot more rear end than we're used to seeing. No more of those odd spins that we kept seeing from both Max Verstappen and Alex Albon this time last year in Barcelona. This was a thing that they managed to dial out last year, which made them a competitive force by the end of the season. That, combined with Mercedes stopping developing the car, meant that they were right there, and Verstappen won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, of course. That more compliant car and the better rear end, I think, helps the number two driver. I think Sergio Perez is looking more comfortable in that car than Gasly or Albon ever did. And that in turn is going to help push Verstappen as well in the longer run. So here's the big one. I'm going to put my neck on the line. This is very bold given everything that's happened in the recent years. I'm going to say Red Bull start the season as favourites for me. Mercedes are relentless. I'm sure they're going to be thereabouts. Yep, I know they've probably been sandbagging this whole time. In fact, I know they have, because the pace was just nowhere near what it should be. But even so, I just don't think they've looked comfortable in the car, the drivers, particularly Lewis Hamilton. If you just analyse Red Bull on its own, it looks a good car, and Verstappen has been absolutely flying it when he's been driving. So have Mercedes been playing a big game? Is this sandbagging to the maximum? If it is, I've bought it this year, and I'm going to say Max Verstappen is going to come in as pre-season favourite. So all in all, big disclaimer, I could be wrong on everything. The field's so close, it's really difficult to tell, and it's only testing. But I would say I think McLaren are going to be strong, and I think at the very least we're going to have a good title fight this year between Mercedes and Red Bull. But it's not long to wait now, just 2 weeks' time, back at the same track. We'll find out just how wrong this all is.